And welcome back, everyone. I was wondering if I'd get around to talking about this, but something interesting happened when I went to the Kickstarter to see how far they were. If they were going to hit the 700 grand mark. This got moved. This is now farther up on the list, like something that they had already achieved. So, first off, I'm obviously going to do a prediction about it, but B, I wonder what happened. My best guess is, first off, they're probably flabbergasted they got as far as they did so quickly. But my best guess, this is just a guess, is that they reevaluated how much money they have, production costs, all that, and then goes, oh no, yeah, we can push that back, and we can even set some goals further down. So now, if we hit 700 grand, we're not getting Aang versus the Traveler from Genshin Impact. And I do want to be sure on Genshin Impact, which now we are getting. We're getting Hulk versus Godzilla. Look, there's 12 days left, and they're at like around 660 some odd grand. I want to say we're going to get Hulk versus Godzilla. Can we maybe get Hulk versus Godzilla? That would kind of be sick. I will give my thoughts on that if we get there. But regardless, we're here now. So Aang versus the Traveler from Genshin Impact. Or just Traveler. So I'm not familiar with Genshin Impact personally, but I did look into it, and the minute I started reading what this character can do, I'm like, yes, okay, it makes sense why we had this match chosen. Both are those individuals who manipulate the elements. Now, in terms of who is doing this better, who I think is going to win, that's actually not as easy as I thought it would be, because I really wanted to try to find as much feats as I could for the Traveler, because I'm not familiar with the Traveler. I don't play Genshin Impact. Whereas I'm a very big, long-term fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, so I know Aang pretty well. And when it comes to elemental manipulation, let's compare it real quick here. What we got? Aerokinesis, or wind air manipulation. While the Traveler certainly has that, and it's described as creating suction currents of air from their palms, or summoning a tall tornado that carries away small to medium enemies path. With Anemo, they're also capable of creating a cutting gust of wind with the final hit of their sword. I'm guessing that's the name of their blade. But let's not mince words here. And I'm sure there might be some other abilities I have not seen here. Aang is the better wind manipulator. I think we can all just safely agree on that. But what about Earth? Because he does have geokinesis. And acquiring the power from Rex Lapis, they can disgorge meteorites and create a radial shockwave that pushes foes away and erupts many rocks in a set distance. Now, I don't even think with his strongest element, wind, or air, he's got anything on the level of, say, meteorite feats, but I'd have to see what the meteorites look like in-game to know how big they are. But suffice to say, from a power output standpoint, I might actually go with Traveler on this. But there's a big catch-22 when we get through all the elements here. Then there's electrokinesis. And can manipulate electricity. He can release 3 blades of lightning at once and coordinate lightning strikes with every attack. He's also got dendrokinesis. Obtains blurs power. They can release leaves wildly and summon a dendro bulb. So some sort of level of plant manipulation. And then hydrokinesis, water abilities. They can shoot waters and splashes and summon large spiral water through it. I think it's safe to say Aang is probably the better water manipulator as well. That seemed to be his second best element. Though fire, he was a natural fire elemental, or firebender. And I don't see any fire manipulation abilities listed here. So fire clearly is something Aang has over him, whereas lightning and plants is something that he has over Aang. However, I will say that, and I don't know if you need to be charging power points or something when it comes to this game, because if you do, then Aang's going to have just I can just keep doing this all day kind of thing. But I think manipulating things is just easier for Aang overall. Aang can manipulate all 4 elements at once. He is also capable of redirecting energy. We know this through his ability, thanks to the fact he learned from Zuko how to redirect lightning. The Traveler, though, also is capable of underwater breathing. He has elemental sight, meaning he can see traces left by monsters or other sources, elemental sources. He's a skilled hand-to-hand fighter and swordsmith. He has great physical endurance, Traveling interdimensionally, I don't think is going to matter in the fight. He can fly as well, which Aang can glide, so I think they're going to be roughly equal on that. He is apparently an otherworldly physiology. He's immune to certain cursed items. Wouldn't matter here. They have ability Purify and Corrupt. It doesn't matter. They are immune to erosion and Emirsu's memory manipulation. However, the sibling lost their dissector status and became part of Teyvat, making them vulnerable to... Okay, I don't know what any of that means. Point being, they have some, otherworldly physiology. Alchemy proficiency, which wouldn't really matter. We've seen Aang beat an alchemist before. But also, he's capable of amplifying his own attacks and siphoning energy. See, this is why I typed in feats for this character. The Traveler can absorb energy from a source like a sponge, which no other being in Teyvat can do without vision or being an elemental creature. So that's interesting. I'm wondering if that can play a factor here. Because Aang does have a win con that this guy simply doesn't. And that is energy manipulation. He can literally bend another person's energy, the whole flying turtle thing he got taught. But if his energy starts to get siphoned, that could be problematic, especially because he'd be in direct contact with Aang. And then there's the Avatar state, which is Aang's X Factor, which is going to amplify. We don't know, by the way, what the actual amp of the Avatar state really is. Is it like what kind of multiplier we're looking at here? But we would guess, and this is just my guess, and we'll see what Deathbattle say now that their research has become a lot more in-depth with their series as it's gone on. I would guess that it's maybe multiplied by the amount of past reincarnations you have. Because you have all the experience and knowledge of said individuals, I would imagine that your abilities are amped by that many individuals. I don't remember how many avatars there actually have been, but there have been dozens. So I wonder if they're going to take that into consideration. Because if we're talking about the Avatar state, I'm not sure he has, Traveler has an answer to the Avatar state. I don't know if he has a clear answer or not to it. Granted, it is energy, so siphoning energy off, maybe. Oh, so we're dealing with someone who has definitely more variety with elements. A more skilled physical fighter, and the ability to siphon energy. And that's just the stuff I could find. Not to mention possibly a meteor level feat. Versus Aang, who doesn't necessarily have that straight level of power, but is capable of using all of his elements at once. And is very versatile, even with the elements he's not the strongest with, like Earth. This also begs the question, are we going to see Aang, or see like the most powerful version of Aang? Like past the end of the original series Aang, like the novels Aang. My guess is they'll look at the novels as a baseline for some things, definitely. So who do I got in this fight? That is tough. Aang's not a fighter. His fighting style is more about dodging, avoidance, and then counter-striking with an elemental attack. He's not a physical fighter. If this fight gets physical, Aang's in trouble. Aang is in big trouble. And you have to assume it's going to get physical at some point. But with the Avatar state, he can counteract that. And then it begs the question, is this a character, Traveler, who can resist the energy bending? Now, I'm going to leave it down in the comments below for you guys who know Genshin Impact better than me. I found as much as I could to try to formulate an opinion here. I'm going to lean towards Aang. Because while, yes, he can siphon energy from Aang, theoretically, Aang has a lot of energy, particularly once he goes in the Avatar state. Not to mention, if we are going by a multiplication factor, however many it is, then that would probably outpace whatever level of power output he has, even probably outpacing the meteor feat. Whatever the meteor feat actually is, mind you. And my guess is because it's a game, it's probably not that big a meteor. So then you go into the fact that he can manipulate energy, and can like straight up manipulate it. And if he can take away his ability to bend the elements, then that would just lead to physical fighting, which, yes, he would have an advantage over Aang, but Aang at that point would just waste it with the Avatar state. So, and that's the thing. If they're going to try to keep Aang in character, Aang will try to probably leave the fight before, because he no longer thinks he can no longer fight, but he's going to try to come in, and Aang will immediately go into the Avatar state and be like, waste him. So, look, again, I need to know more about this series. I'll leave it in the comments below. Be respectful. And I'm not saying don't. I'm saying, oh, you don't want to be insulted. Of course, I don't want to be insulted. Not that you guys can insult me. But that's not an invitation. But if you want to, by all means, I will either ban you or just ignore you. But regardless, it's about being courteous to everyone in the comments, guys. I think I'll end up by saying I'm going to go with Aang. And if you're someone, and this goes to my, what was the Eggman Bowser? No, it was the Maka versus Ruby thumbnail. If you're someone who can't read a goddamn description, the thumbnail, don't cry wolf about the thumbnail being clickbait. If you're literally just going off of look, there's titles for a reason. In case you're not aware, some idiot said, tired of these clickbaity titles for stupid videos, or clickbaity thumbnails for stupid videos. I'm like, what? And then someone responded and said, dude, try reading the, should try reading the title. And he goes, maybe you should try not doing a clickbaity thumbnail. I'm like, are you a child? Like, do you not read the titles of videos when you click on them? Look, dude, it's not yeah, thumbnails are part of the attractor, but it's up to you to read something. And don't say, it's up to you, I'm not doing clickbait. No. People make these things all the damn time, and it's not my fault you're not paying attention to it's not my fault you're not paying attention to Deathbattle right now to know that there's no new Deathbattles at this moment. That's not on me. That's on your dumbass. You're an idiot. I'm sorry. I don't like to be angry at people a lot of time. I don't like to vent. I try to be as civil as possible, but once in a while, some idiot comes out that makes me just go, why are you such a dumbass? Stop blaming people for your own idiocy or your own inadequacy or the fact that, you thought you were tricked, but you're just an idiot. Oh my God. Stop making that other people's problem. Anyway, by the way, I will put the name of the artist who did this in the thumbnail. I didn't make this thumbnail, but I always try to give the credit where credit is due, so I'll do that. Long and short of it, I go with Aang, but I'm more than welcome to be proven wrong. I always leave my final guess for when I actually watch the video. And you might say, well, that's cheating. No, because I've guessed the right one before in my prediction videos, watched the video, said, I'm going to change my answer, and then been wrong. So you know what? That's fair. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Who do you got? Let me know why. Until then, I'll see you next time.